Okay, welcome everybody to another interesting session that we've got for you. Just to point out that we have 3 presenters during this slot. Unfortunately, one of the speakers or 2 of the speakers delivering one of the sessions have been had to pull out. So first of all, we've got Marina, Herriges, Katherine, Thompson, and Erinn, Dunlea, who are going to be talking about confronting real-world challenges around embedding environmental sustainability in learning and teaching through co-creation. And then we've got Anna McGregor, Leighann Sherry, Katherine Price, Ashley Leighann, Fiona Stubbs, Zuzanna Boguslawska, and Katie Connor, who'll be talking about embedding LinkedIn into an undergraduate bioscience course. And then lastly, we've got Demeter Karadoff, Laura Sharp, and Julie Leighann Martin, who'll be talking about problem-based learning for fostering student adaptability and intercultural awareness. I just need to check, first of all, that all of the presenters are happy for the session to be recorded. Thank you so much. And once again, if you have got any questions, just a reminder that you should use the Q&A tab on the right-hand side of your screen to post any questions. And we'll take any questions after each of the specific presentations. So I'll hand over to the presenters now, and we shall all watch and enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. I will just share my screen. It's not coming to.
It worked earlier, didn't it?
It just worked, yeah, but now it's not. I don't know what's going on.
IT, any help, please?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so
it's not allowing me to share PDF somehow.
Yeah, so when you click on the share down the bottom, it'll come up with a smaller screen, like a wee white box, and then you can choose either entire screen, Windows, or Chrome tab out of that.
Should we do?
So yeah, so like next to your mic on, there's a share button for like a screen with an arrow on it. You click that, and then it brings up a smaller white box. And
yeah, but somehow it doesn't allow me to click. I don't know, maybe it's my computer. Do you have the image there, Karen?
I don't know.
Is it the word cloud? I can try and share it.
Did you get the new one?
Can you type, Karen, please? Sorry, I don't know what's going on. We've just
it's all past the noise of it. So
is that working?
Yeah,
that looks
perfect.
Good.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Erinn.
No problem.
Okay, thank you very much for accepting us to speak at this event. My name is Marina Herriges, and I am a textile conservator working in Bristol. I have always been aware of our impact on the planet, as well as how this has been generating extreme change in our climate and the way our communities live. The issues affect all over the globe, including the heritage sector. As a result, in 2020, I finished my MPhil in textile conservation at the University of Glasgow, in which for my dissertation, I evaluated how environmental sustainability was addressed in textile conservation. As an outcome of my dissertation and my interest, I was invited by my supervisor, Thompson, to start a pilot project project in the 2020-2021 academic year. Throughout the year, I worked with first-year students to introduce environmental sustainability in the MPhil textile conservation. This pilot project evolved into a formal research project entitled Embedding Environmental Sustainability for Active Learning and Student Engagement in Textile Conservation. The project is supported by the Learning and Teaching Development Fund, and during the 21-22 term, we have been looking at embedding sustainability in the curriculum through co-creation between students, staff, and external partner. As an external partner, my experience in the working environment gives me the chance to identify issues and opportunities within this subject. This has been used in the project to highlight potential areas for the topic to be assessed among the students and the staff. As an outsider, I can bring the knowledge to emphasize that the project learning outcomes can actually grow outside the academic world, empowering students to make a positive impact on the conservation field once they have left the university. From a point of view of a former student, facilitating content to current students, following their involvement with the subject and learning from their experience is definitely rewarding. I was pleased surprised at the beginning of the project as students started the project conscientious of the importance of the subject within the profession and brought examples from their daily life that could be applied in the field. Their motivation in generating ideas and applying their knowledge in their working routine has amazed me. We are still processing the data we have been collecting through surveys, focus groups, and projects, but I can definitely say that open dialogue about this subject and providing a safe space for discussion is pointed by our research as one of the ways to introduce the topic among students and staff.
Thank you, Marina. So hello, my name is Thompson and I'm program convener for the MPhil in Textile Conservation. And I just wanted to give you a bit of background to what we've been doing this year. So the aim of the project was to develop sort of lasting sustainable practice on our program and to develop this in collaboration with the students. And this work very much came about through Marina's dissertation research. At the start of this academic year, we held focus groups to gain a better understanding of the knowledge, expectations, and goals of the students. And this provided a benchmark to evaluate change through the project, but also a starting point for our conversations. The first year students brought a lot of experience from their personal lives as well as their wider professional lives. And the second year students were strongly focused on practical considerations in relation to their studies. Following on from the focus group discussions, we held 2 workshops providing both an introduction to sustainability and also a space to think about how to take this forward. We'd originally planned to continue the workshop approach, but we found that whilst the discussions and the debate amongst the group was important in setting the scene, the students really wanted to do things that could really make a difference. They wanted to be active in the process and produce tangible outcomes. The students identified projects they thought we should focus on. We ran these along, but outside the timetable teaching. We have a very busy teaching schedule, so we needed to try and create manageable projects with realistic goals. And this is where sort of team working and breaking down the projects into smaller tasks has been invaluable. At present, we have 4 group projects that are running concurrently. Each project has its own Teams channel, which provides a space to discuss and develop ideas, which are accessible to all staff, students, and our external partner. Informal sharing of projects process has also been part of this to maintain awareness of the work that's going on in the different groups. As we're a practical-based subject, most of the projects we've developed relate to this. We've begun to build wider networks and participating in wider discussions with other staff and students in the University of Glasgow and beyond. Through this process, we've also become more alive to related activities within the university and beyond that relate to our area of specialism. So far this year, we've taken opportunities to get involved with the Sustainability Learning and Teaching Community of Practice, COP26, and an editathon, Instagram, blogs, professional related publications, as well as connecting with colleagues in Kelvin Hall and the Hunterian, which is where we're based, as well as with students at other universities. This has been influencing our practice in different ways, as Erinn will go on to describe it in a bit more detail. It's been a two-way process, and I'm no expert in sustainability, as I'm sure the students will testify. However, working together with the students co-creating has been invaluable for me as a teacher and personally, as well as I hope for the students and our external partner. It's been very impressive to see the differences we're beginning to make in such a short time. The importance of teamwork and communication is a strong thread that's run through this project. Working with an external partner has been particularly valuable. It's helped to motivate and build confidence as we learn together, bringing together different perspectives. As we develop our experience and knowledge base within the university, we should be able to develop our networks to support each other internally too. I think taking the idea of a buddy system where staff and students may be one way that we could do this. But continuing to listen to and learn from and working with our students has really been the key to the success of what we've achieved so far. And as Marina says, we'll be looking at the data collected through the project and the focus groups at the beginning and at the end of the project to draw out themes and also wider learning that we can take from this. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. My name is Erinn, and I'm a second year student on the MPhil programme and a participant in the project. And I'll speak about the student perspective on this. So having dedicated sessions to discuss issues around sustainability and conservation helped us to reflect on ways in which we could view our activities through this lens and apply sustainable principles in our developing practices. So this was a really useful opportunity for us to consolidate our positions as reflective practitioners, which is one of the key graduate attributes that we felt was encouraged during the project. This is about critical thinking and connecting our experiences with the broader profession and contemporary issues. And this practice of reflection is something that we had begun to articulate through the curriculum, and which will remain a fundamental skill during the rest of our studies and our future careers as emerging conservation professionals. For example, it's central to ethical decision-making, which is fundamental to our work, and is also heavily embedded in the professional accreditation process in the industry. So having a platform to explore this further with a specific focus on sustainability was really useful. And having guidance, structure, and a collaborative group dynamic has meant that we felt it has become more integrated in our practices than it would have had we been considering these issues individually. Some of the students have taken this process forward to incorporate sustainability in practice and research during professional placements and proposals for forthcoming dissertation research. Students have looked at the reuse and repurposing of materials for costume mounting, the sustainability of materials used to mount flat textiles, and considering the longevity of dye solutions with a view to reducing consumption and waste. And these are all processes which are relevant to our work as textile conservators. The project demonstrated to us that the programme is open to developments and changes in practice around issues that are of importance to students. We felt our contributions were valued and that we could have an impact in this context. For example, ways of incorporating a statement around sustainability in reporting of object treatments are being considered. And it has also given students more confidence in taking on responsibilities within current projects to evaluate and improve practice in the department and embed this within procedures to reach higher standards of sustainability throughout the programme. And from a student perspective, seeing a recent graduate be so involved in the process sets an example that pursuing research and influencing the field as an emerging conservator is an attainable aspiration that we could aspire to have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So any questions?
Yeah, thank you so much for getting the applause there. Unfortunately, you can't hear it, but you can see it. And Gordon MacLeod's kindly shared the university's Sustainability Learning and Teaching Community Practice link, so that's great. People want to join that. That's brilliant. There's a question in the Q&A that hopefully the people can see, the presenters can see, from Anna McGregor. Thank you. We are looking to trying to integrate environmental sustainability into our final year honours projects. Do you have any recommendations about how to implement that in a time-effective way? I think that's a great question. I was thinking about tips as well. So what's really nice here is we have obviously the student and the staff perspective. So it'd be good to hear any kind of any tips that you've got. There's also a question from Gordon McLeod as well about top tips for other programmes wanting to embed sustainability.
I suppose, I mean, it was, from my point of view, I think it's that dialogue and sort of thinking about what is realistic and achievable. So we could embed it in our sort of day-to-day work. So that's how we've managed to do it. But we wanted to have conversations outside of that. But some of the students, as Erinn mentioned, are building it into their dissertation projects, which might be similar to your final year honours projects. I'm not quite sure.
I think what we found, oh, sorry, go.
No, carry on, Marina.
So I was just thinking what we found as well with the dissertation was because previously we did have one lecture about sustainability, but after that, nothing was mentioned again. And then with the project, I think it kept consistent throughout the year. So we were trying to always get back to sustainability and integrate this subject into all the other subjects. So it was not apart from what the course was teaching, it was something integrated to the curriculum. And I think this makes easier to generate conversation about the subject as well.
I would agree with that. I think from a student perspective, especially with our program, it's so intense in terms of the amount of learning and teaching time that we have. So I think the fact that it wasn't completely separate to everything else, it didn't feel like it was an additional burden for the students because it was so integrated with everything that we do. And I think the fact that students were so involved from the very beginning in developing and this co-creation process meant that it was embedded more effectively because it wasn't a case of teaching dictating what students need to do to achieve the project. I think that kind of aspect of discussion and collaboration was really important. And I think having the students contribute to that means that we're sort of more invested in it, and it's a lot easier for us to incorporate it in our work because we feel more passionate and involved about it.
And I think that's very much the case. I mean, I'm working with one particular group and they keep saying, you know, they're the ones that are leading it. And it's very much a dialogue between all parties. There's no sort of hierarchy, you know, we're the teachers and they're the students, or they're the students and we're the teachers. You know, it's very much integrated. And I've been surprised at the different projects that have come through from that. You know, looking at policy has been one of the things that students have been keen to, as well as looking about how we can improve our practice in labs and things like that. So it's quite broad ranging as well. And I think having the external partners, having Marina there to be able to motivate us and provide guidance, I think has been really important. I mean, that has been useful, but just because we are novices, I think, in this area. So
I'm really interested in this editathon quickly. Is it possible to tell us a bit more about that, please?
Yes, I think this was an initiative that we had from International Body of Conservation, and I happened to be involved with that as well, so I brought the students along with me. So we had, at the last week of COP26, we had 24 hours generating content about climate change and conservation in general. So we had universities around the planet with different slots. So each university would contribute with some part of this content, and everything was published on Wikipedia. which is open to everyone. So it was very important for us to generate this content and also be open access for anyone to have a look at this content.
That's super. Thank you all so much. I'm sure everybody watching would like to give you applause for that. It was really, really interesting to hear about this project and a bit more about how successful co-creation was, and also how you know, you've really got a great sense of graduate attributes in there too. So that's really, really marvellous. So thank you all so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we just got our next group of presenters waiting in the wings here. So we have Anna McGregor, Katie Connor, Leighann Sherry, and I can see two of you on one screen, so I can't work out which. I'm sorry, who's in that second screen? So I can't.
I think your mic is off. This is Fiona Stubbs is our final thing. Can we test your mic though? Can
you hear us? Can you hear us? Yeah. Okay. We just thank you for we're in. There's three of us in one room, so we're just sharing the slides now. Make sure that you can see that the slides are going forwarding. So we're just getting set up. If you can just give us 2 seconds, please.
Fine. That's absolutely fine. Yeah. Just take your time to get set up, of course.
Okay. Can you just, as we move to the second slide, this is the first one, and the second one's got our pictures on. If you can just let us know. Can you see that moving on?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. That's great. Well, I was going to say good morning. It's just about good morning. Thank you today. Thank you for inviting us to the career conference. I'd like to just introduce you to our project, LinkedIn to Get In. First of all, let's introduce you to the group. We have Anna, Leighann, who are lecturers here in the School of Life Sciences, Susie, who's is a level 4 human biology student and has had some time as an intern in the career service, and myself, Fiona, who's the careers manager, medical, veterinary and life sciences. So once again, hello and thank you. So the background to our project is not what you know, it's who you know. Maybe an overuse, but I still think it's an accurate phrase. If your family is well connected and can introduce you to people to support you getting work experience, you're lucky. However, most of us don't have a wide-reaching family network. There's two pieces to the background of our project. The first one, there's still within the labour market a high proportion of unadvertised or unposted roles. It's often called the hidden job market. Given the choice, though, many employers prefer to fill those positions without widely advertising. Many reasons for this: it saves on costs. They often prefer referrals without being inundated with unqualified applications, especially if they're a small company or a startup company. They might not want to reveal their plans to competitors. Also, and I think this is especially interesting, if a company is developing, they may have unmet labour needs, but if you've got a creative job searcher, a job can suddenly become very, very real for them. So there's many reasons why jobs are not widely posted. So that was one of the backgrounds. The second background was when I asked life sciences students what they had considered to do upon graduation, they had a very limited responses, and they'd often come with 5 option answers. I want to work in a lab, I don't want to work in a lab, I want to do a PhD, I don't want to do a PhD, or just generally not knowing. So that was our background. So about the project, our objective was to provide a space for students to help with their professional networking, their professional plans, and also create a level playing field. I talked about it's not what you know, it's who you know. But nowadays with LinkedIn, with online platforms, we can create this level playing field for all, and to encourage, so that everybody's got access to connections, irrespective of their background or their social capital. And also with LinkedIn, it's the largest job portal, the largest job site with over 10 to 11 million jobs at any one point. They can promote the diversity of roles, science and non-science, to our students. So that was our 3 main objectives. I had used LinkedIn personally myself and in previous jobs at London Business School to forward my career and educate MBA students to reach their aspirational career goals. I knew it'd be a very valuable careers tool to promote to students, and also particularly for them to see alumni to be inspired by their career journeys, to connect with alumni, to support with their applications, interviews, and to keep up to date with the sectors that they were interested in. So what did I suggest? I thought it would be great if each of the School of Life Sciences degree groups, the 17 degree groups, would have their own closed group on LinkedIn. We promoted this in the School of Life Sciences staff meeting. In promoting it, we felt it was important to talk about the benefits, not just only for students, but for staff. The benefits for staff of creating these LinkedIn groups is that as time went by, they would have accurate, up-to-date information on graduate destinations. Also, that they would be able to keep in touch with their students and invite them back, this community of graduates, to call on for events, mentoring, open days, things like that. For students, I think, to me, it's really important that they start establishing a network across many sectors and types of backgrounds as soon as possible. It's also key for them to keep in touch with people in their class as they go through the years. And also have access to alumni, people that have been in their shoes, that have been in their course, to help with their future career journeys and employment and future studies. It also helps them to tap into this hidden job market that I've talked about, and then use the platform to start publicly liking things, contributing to discussions. How we did this? Well, to start with, we've embedded or we've included, maybe not embedded, we've included within the timetable some sessions to help students, mainly in level 2, 3 and 4, to set up a profile, how they do this, how to use the functions on LinkedIn, and to join the group and to encourage contribution within that group. We also did one particular session with level 3 microbiology students, where it was a pilot session that we're hoping to review and go on to do next year, where they interviewed 20 alumni from the LinkedIn group, and then the students presented their findings back to their class. So not only did they learn from that connection, but they shared that within their class. So moving on.
Hi, just to say that I'm Leighann. I'm the coordinator for Level 3 Microbiology, and I'm just going to go into some of the results from this study. So ultimately, we wanted to see whether our approach of including this type of session, the curriculum, helped our students network, create opportunities for them, and increase their confidence in it. So we started out by gauging their baseline understanding of the platform, and what was not surprising to us is that only 9% were actually comfortable and active in using this LinkedIn platform. That said, there was a very large proportion, so 73% of our students had a profile, a very basic profile. There's, on the majority of them, no detail on it. So they had it, but they weren't active on it at all. And when we drilled down to what the reason was behind this, it was overwhelmingly came apparent that our students just weren't confident in using this networking platform and putting themselves across in a professional manner. So they're aware of it, but they don't feel comfortable in using it. So Fiona touched upon this session where we set up a load of interviews with our alumni, and we had 20 in total that kindly gave up their time to be interviewed by our students. Now, within the School of Life Sciences, quite distinct, I think, from others in our college. to be that the diversity in careers within life sciences is huge in comparison to, for example, medicine, dentistry, and veterinary medicine as well. So these are just some of the examples of our alumni that were interviewed. We do have people that are involved in industry. We have Sharon, who was our Glasgow Science Centre, who's involved in science communication. We have Julie involved in teaching, but also a couple of our graduates left science completely, went into banking and went into software development. So this really showcased the wide range of careers our students can go into with a University of Glasgow microbiology degree, not just going into academia and the routes that they think are open to them. So what impact did this session actually have? Well, we're really pleased to see the responses from our questionnaires after the teaching session and after the interviews. Our students were much more aware of the careers open to them. Yes, we're still seeing things like research coming up, and we didn't expect that to disappear. But as you can see, the diversity in careers and roles is apparent in how much they've increased within our students' knowledge. What was nice to see things like art, health, and also translation come up, where some of our students want to go into the translational side and translate science in other countries. So that was really nice to see. We had increased awareness of career pathways open to them. Also, on the side point is that we asked how their confidence increased. So we know 91% of our students before these sessions weren't comfortable in using the platform, and it's nice to see that more than 2/3 of our students are now confident in networking and LinkedIn. Now, that said, they feel they're confident in doing it, but within these closed groups that we've created, there is still a reluctance of our students to post and engage within this closed network that we have created. And this kind of led on to our next point of, well, why is this? They feel comfortable in doing it, they feel confident, but why are there's still that reluctance there?
So there comes in my role. So I'm Susie, a level 4 human biology student and a careers intern. So as an intern, I tried to encourage student participation within the LinkedIn groups by designing a campaign that involved many activities, such as polls to ask students about their career progress or their ways of finding jobs. I also asked alumni to share their experience on LinkedIn. So for example, in the comment for that post, I got a very positive reply from an alum finding her PhD on LinkedIn. I also created infographics on how to use LinkedIn as a student and how to prepare for a science fair, for example. And I also created some awareness posts meant to educate students on hidden job market and the benefits of work experience. So after posting 3 times a week for a month, the student engagement in the group was still pretty low. And the posts seem to have the highest engagement, probably because of the convenient format. So just click yes or no or any other answer. And engagement was seen in both students and alumni. And generally, we noticed that alumni respond on LinkedIn more than students, in liking, commenting, sharing their thoughts on different topics, sharing opportunities and jobs. And despite including a useful guide on how to use LinkedIn as a student, so building a profile, a network, and getting recommendations, students still did not feel comfortable being visible within the microbiology group and beyond. So they were mostly okay interacting through liking, but they didn't want to contribute, so post or comment. And so the work so far has shown that current students don't engage on LinkedIn due to the lack of confidence, and the few reasons were, for example, we as students feel intimidated by the platform that is mostly used by professionals, especially that a lot of us in life sciences degree don't really know what to do after graduation. And we also feel like we can't add value to the group because we are not in work yet, so we just lack the experience. And up to Fiona again.
Okay, our last slide. So what next? So taking into account the students' feedbacks, we're keen to carry on with the LinkedIn education within timetable sessions, but we're going to do more on educating students, giving confidence to students about how they can connect politely and appropriately, maybe give some examples of contexts in which we can sort of help with the etiquette of LinkedIn. So we want to carry on with doing that. We also want to encourage more reflection with students with regards to their careers, on what they've done, what they might want to do, what skills they've developed, what skills they might need to develop to help them in their journey forward, so that they feel more informed. And if they're more informed, they will be able to, they can see the value in use of this platform. Also, I think we're going to follow up with students next year to see, as a result of the activities they've done this year, if they are more engaged. Have we encouraged them to use LinkedIn, and where they are and where they want to go? I think that's us. I think it's now questions, but before we have questions, we'd really like to thank the other staff and students that were involved in this project. Thank you. So I think it's question time now.
Thank you so much. That was really interesting, and I'm sure there's lots that it's so transferable, isn't it, to all the subjects? So it's really, really great. If anybody's got any questions, if you can post them in the Q&A, please, that would be brilliant. Can I just ask a question, just while we're waiting?
Yes.
I presume that, you know, going forward, you've gathered all this experience and all this knowledge about how students are using it or not, and are planning to continue using it. So I presume it's a different group for each cohort rather than one kind of alumni group. I just kind of.
Yes. What we decided to do is create degree groups for each degree group. So there's 17 degree groups within the School of Life Sciences currently. And so there's a group for each. So there's one for animal biology, one for microbiology, one for sports science, because we thought that they would, you know, particularly if we're wanting as time goes on, there'll be more and more alumni, and then they can post things like opportunities, conferences, jobs to a interested bunch of people, and also then they can share. They can also share information that's relevant to their area as well. Conferences again, reports, anecdotal information.
I think this is one thing we haven't really approached in this study yet. We're coming at it from the current student perspective, engaging students while they're doing their degree. We sort of haven't yet added in approaching alumni and getting them to contribute, you know, which also might have its benefits and its role. So yeah, down the road, other potential ways we can kind of expand.
Thanks. It's one to watch with interest. Thank you. There's a question now about nominating student leaders or asking them to volunteer to try and get other students engaged. So the question's asking, have you thought about that as an approach?
Well, Susie, who is on our call here, Susie's level 4 student, human biology student, and also has been an intern within the career service. Her role, one of her primary roles, was to engage students within LinkedIn on how to use it and to encourage that activity. So we've had that sort of idea before, and that's where Susie's come in.
So further on to that point, just being in the groups, you can see there are some students who are very active on LinkedIn. Yeah. And whether it's a result of you know, their role or their interests personally, you know, and I think that is a very good potential way, you know, we could get or try to identify those individuals and then encourage them, you know, provide examples to current students about what the those
I think so. And also, if I just felt onto those, the students that are more active tend to be the postgraduate students. And I think, you know, it could be a stage in life, but also I think when students have more relations with industry, they understand the value of the platform and may then feel confident or see there's a motivation to use it.
And this comes with that imposter syndrome idea too that we talked a little bit about, that, and I've noticed this in previous work too, that students feel somehow their degree is disconnected from their career. So what happens at university stays at university. You know, and that might be fine for some things, but you know, that is exactly where you're starting those things, and they need to be, or we need to support students in understanding how they connect beyond. So.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Thank you. If we just take one more question, just to get an eye on the time. Thank you for your informative presentation. Overall, were you happy with the participation rates? Approximately what percentage of the class participated in each of the groups? I don't know if you've got any data on that.
There's two levels of participation. In terms of the, I'm going to call them the careers sessions that I did on LinkedIn, I would say, I mean, students weren't obliged to come to the session. There was probably about 50% of the students turned up to learn about LinkedIn, how to write their profile, how to understand how to use it to forward their career or postgraduate ideas. And with regards to the research,
yeah, so although only 50% of them turned up to the introductory sessions, they were paired up with others in their class, which meant that actually when it came to doing the interviews, we had about 90% of students within our class engaged with taking part in those interviews and feeding back to the class. So the students did really engage with the topic. Maybe it was they had a helping hand from someone else in the class prodding them that you have to sign up, you have to get involved and help me with this. It could be. One thing to note though, I think that all this was done with over the last year and it was online. So looking forward for next year, we are hoping to do this on campus where we'd hope to get those initial numbers increased even further.
That is absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. A lot of food for thought there. Thank you. So we'll be moving on to our final presentation of this session. So if just wait for the presenters for that to join the stage.
Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you doing? I'm just, if you just want to maybe, have you got a presentation that you want to get set up? Do you just want to take a bit of time just to share that? So Demetra's going to be talking to us about harnessing PBL, problem-based learning, to foster student adaptability and intercultural awareness and exchange. So just when you're ready.